Imagine you move from a place where you lived all your life. Imagine you move and you leave all your children and wife. Starting all over again, but no one you know is around. Well, they didn't have to imagine. They built it up from the ground. How does it sound? Not easy cause it isn't. Could have praised them, but it didn't. But the Ray Bond, that's a winner. And they ran straight to the finish. You get to know them up close and personal. Wait, just give me a minute. Welcome to the front row. Can I get a drum roll? Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Intentional Immigrants podcast and YouTube channel. This is where we seek to inspire, motivate, and encourage immigrants and others so that they can be empowered to live their best lives. My name is Yolanda Jack. Thank you for joining me today. Can you believe it? It's tax season. Yes, it is upon us. For those who are new to Canada or the US, individuals are required to file their annual taxes by April 30th each year. So for us who are from elsewhere, yes, we usually pay our taxes, but it's usually taken out each pay cycle. And now in Canada, the taxes are taken out each pay cycle, but you as an individual are required to file your taxes. So that's new to us as immigrants, new to us if we are from elsewhere. All right, so how can you make this process a little easier on yourself? Remember, it happens each year. So how can you live your best life as it relates to taxes? All right, just a pause. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The podcast is available on Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, and you will be able to you can either listen to it if you are not able to watch it, or you can watch and listen, whichever works for you. All I want to know is that you are tuning in and you're getting some helpful tips. As well, there is a website, www.intentionalimmigrants.com, all one word, intentionalimmigrants.com. Of course, subscribe so that you can keep abreast of whatever I have to share. All right, so our first step is to get your receipts. Start with a file folder that you store all your receipts in throughout the year. Yes, you need to get your receipts and your T4s. Now, T4s are the statement that you get from your employer that says how much you've earned and how much was deducted for taxes. So, of course, it has other information as well, but that's just a synopsis of what it covers. In addition to the T4, you want to get whatever investment receipts that you have available. So that can be your T3, T5, all the T's together. And you need to have those so that when you're submitting your taxes, you can include that information on your taxes as well. Store your receipts so that when it's tax time, it's a smooth process for you so that you can file your taxes without a headache. The second thing is decide on whether you are going to self-file, that is, you're doing it yourself, or you're going to use a service provider. There are pros and cons to both methods. If you're using self-filing, then you can use TurboTax as well as others. If you're using a service provider, then you can use H&R Block, etc. There are others, of course. So as I said, there are pros and cons for both methods. But one thing I want you to bear in mind is that you are responsible for the information that is provided. Whether you self-file or you use a service provider, the information comes from you. So you're the one providing the information. So you are ultimately responsible. Okay, so now that you have gotten all that information into the government. So you have filed, and there are two processes. So you can get some communication from the government that says, hey, you overpaid, so here's a refund. That is, they give you back some money because you overpaid on your taxes. Or the unfortunate alternative is that they may say, hey, you did not pay enough, so you owe us. Either way, communication will come from CRA for Canada, and they will tell you whether or not you owe or they owe you. So there's some owing that's happening. Either they owe you or you owe them. If they owe you, that's a good thing because it means that you're getting back some money. How can you get this money? So there are two ways. They'll either send you a check or you can sign up on the website for direct deposit. All right. So what are some things that you can do with this refund that you get? If you are investing in an RRSP program, that stands for Registered Retirement Savings Plan. So if you are enrolled in one of those programs, it allows you to get a higher tax return. No. So the assumption is that when you are retired and older, you will be in a lower tax bracket. So that's the assumption of the RRSP. So you get a higher tax return now so that you pay less taxes then. But anyway you take it, you have to pay your taxes on what you've earned or any income, any money that has come into you. All right, you want to keep what do you do with this amount of money that you get? So you'd want to make sure, one other thing I want to tell you is that if you get reassessed, you want to make sure that you have your receipts. Your receipts are proof that what you have submitted is actually true. So if the government says, we are questioning this claim that you have the proof, the evidence that says, yes, I did pay, I did spend this money, or I did do this. All right, so now that you've gotten your tax return, we're going to assume that you got a tax return. You want to make sure that you've decided on how you're going to be using these funds. So you use the funds to save, invest, return a portion as tithe. As Christians, we believe that what we have is not ours, it's a gift from God, and we return our tithe as our appreciation for what he has given us. All right, so my recommendation, don't splurge all of it. Save some, pay your tithe, invest some of it. If you don't save, you can't invest. So it's a ladder. Think of it as a ladder. You need to have something to save, something saved so that you can invest. All right. And also, if the government comes back and say to you, we overpaid you, so you owe us, then you want to make sure that you can pay the government back because whatever outstanding amount accrues interest. Okay. And as you know, interest rate is high at this time. So you really don't want to owe anybody. All right. So those are my tips. I am not a tax professional. I can only share my experience with you, but hopefully you have found this helpful and it will help you when you are filing your taxes. If you're new, if this is your first year filing, welcome. Just make it easier on yourself. Okay, so those are the tips that I have to share with you today. Share with me in the comments or on the website, www.intentionalimmigrants.com. Share with me the tips that you have used to make your tax return a little easier because we all have to file our taxes. So why not share how it can be done easier? All right. Remember to subscribe And thank you for tuning in to the Intentional Immigrants podcast and channel. Thank you to Xavier Anderson for providing music. As always, I am your host, Yolanda Jack, reminding you, he who watches the wind will not sow. He who watches the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11 and verse 4. You were born for greatness. Step out into your greatness so that mankind can benefit from you being here. So long, until next time.
Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional.